Okay, once we have exported our photos and we're going to open up Premiere, let's go over to Edit and go Preferences and Timeline. And then from there, the still image default duration, let's just make that 1. You can do 1 or 2 and just see how they are. But this will be good for importing them. It will keep them at a frame, but then we are going to nest and change the time up a little bit anyway, so it's not too big of a deal, but this will help to get a more accurate time-lapse duration. So let's just go File, Import, and then find your photos. So I have my edit here, and I'm just gonna hit Control A and import them all. So let's just select this all. Make sure you deselect the sequence and drag them into a timeline. So we can see here that we have 211 photos. So let's make sure first our sequence setting. Generally 24 is probably your best bet, so let's change that. So if we have 211 and we divide that by 24 frames, that gives us 8 seconds and 8.79. So basically a little over 9 seconds. So I'm going to select them all just by clicking and dragging to highlight, and then right click and go nest. And then from there I'm going to right click and go to speed, and it's 7 seconds right now. Let's actually just play that back and see what it looks like. Okay, so it's super glitchy because this is such a large file. Okay, so I can't really play back, so what we're gonna do is our last step anyway. We're gonna open up a 1080p 24 frames, and then we are going to copy and paste that in. The reason why I like to do that is because I like to have the original 6000 by 4000 just in case I ever need it, but because I am generally working in 1080, the last step will be going into a 1080p size and then just scaling down for whatever I need, but I like to have that original file just in case. So usually if it's 6000 by 4000, scaling it down to 35 will work. And my playback is still super slow because it is such a large file, but I do know that it works. So we can just try rendering this out, and then from there we can just export. Alright, now that it's rendered out, we can see that it's working good. So I'm actually quite happy with that there. I'm going to get rid of this first picture because it's actually not part of it. These first 2 frames, 3. Okay, so there. So I want to actually get rid of these ones. That was part of the first time lapse that I started and then stopped it to reposition and refocus. So that's looking pretty good. I think we are ready to render. So let's just cut that end out that we cut out, and let's go File, Export Media. I'm going to make it an H.264, 1920 by 1080, 24 seconds. If you want, render at maximum depth. I usually like to turn these up to try and get like a decent amount of quality. And then last would be your bitrate here. So this is basically telling the file how big it can be and what to limit it at. So just this will be your max, so that's the total max it can do, and we're setting it at 85. That will obviously raise up this file of your render, but to whatever you want, and then you can just hit export, and that's everything. That's how to make a time lapse.